Folks, thank you very much for coming. Now, exploring the paranormal reveals a vast and mesmerizing emptiness, a source from which countless unexplained phenomena surfaces on our planet. Within this void, the extraordinary and the inexplicable converge, creating a complex tapestry that ignites our curiosity and challenges our comprehension of the universe. As researchers, we must approach these manifestations with utmost caution and clarity, prepared to delve into the depths of possibility and, of course, illuminate the uncharted realms that exist beyond our rational understanding. The mystery of the paranormal beckons us like a siren's call, encouraging us to explore the unknown and seek answers in places where others hesitate to go. Throughout my extensive journey into the paranormal research community, I have encountered and analyzed a multitude of intriguing phenomena that facilitate both believers and skeptics alike. From ghostly apparitions appearing before our eyes to baffling poltergeist activity that defies the laws of physics, the void from which these occurrences arise is indelibly profound and represents a compelling frontier for exploration. In my careful pursuit of knowledge, I have investigated various facets of the void, searching for patterns, connections, and insights that could lead to breathtaking understandings of the paranormal. In this ethereal landscape, apparitions emerge, paranormal energies fluctuate, and the essence of the supernatural intertwines with our reality. Yet, as we peel back the layers of this enigma, we must remain anchored in scientific method, employing rigorous research and analysis to distinguish fact from fiction. Yet even here, we must be cautious. In his remarkable book, Science Fictions, Dr. Stuart Ritchie, a lecturer at the Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology and Neuroscience, uncovers a growing set of issues, including fraud, bias, negligence, sensationalism within the scientific community. One pressing concern is the modern reliance on computer modeling in scientific research, which has proven to be as unreliable as Ouija boards. The widespread misrepresentation of this method and its use as a tool is self-evident. Furthermore, we find ourselves surrounded by manipulation, misinformation, censorship, gaslighting, and covert operations. Troubling issues indeed that extend even into the realm of our own research. Instead of wholeheartedly embracing the captivating field of paranormal inquiry and embarking on a journey of shared discovery, we seem to be trapped in a cycle of confusion, running in circles and chasing our tails rather than making progress. We stand at the threshold of uncovering the universe's hidden mysteries and unlocking the secrets of the inexplicable. Yet, we remain ensnared in stagnation, endlessly circling without achieving significant breakthroughs. Our collective exploration should be driven by an unwavering curiosity in the face of unanswered questions and perplexing phenomena. It is in this innate desire for knowledge that propels us onward. This thirst leads us to explore uncharted territories, seek answers where they seem elusive, and challenge the limits of accepted beliefs. Only by standing at the edge of the unknown with open minds and relentless curiosity can we hope to achieve groundbreaking discoveries, challenge our understanding of the world, and explore uncharted realms of human knowledge. The era of merely spinning our wheels has come to an end. It is time to take hold and take that bold leap into the field of paranormal research and uncover the extraordinary truths that lie in wait. Now, these truths, however, are shrouded in darkness. And we must seek to comprehend these, the essence of the whispers that reveal their secrets. So is there a possibility we can embrace the mysterious, harness the power of knowledge, and elevate our understanding of the paranormal to new heights? Together we should strive to illuminate the enigmas that linger in the shadows, enriching our perception of reality and offering glimpses into the vast unknown. But again, we must be cautious. New Age literature is often filled with misleading information that can misguide us, entangling us in webs of falsehoods and proposing means of communication with the ancients that may sound effective, but often overlook the inherent dangers of entering this realm unprepared. When we fail to grasp the true essence of existence, we leave ourselves vulnerable to being misled, embarking on a journey through a labyrinth of false assurances and distractions. The first rule of navigating this perilous journey is to resist the enticing allure of indulging in offerings that purport to come from divine origins. This would caution us against partaking in so-called food of the gods, urging us to approach these tempting offerings with a degree of wariness. Just as excessive consumption of intoxicating substances can obscure our judgment and impair our reasoning, indulging in the promises offered by these so-called divine beings can lead us to lose sight of the truth. It's essential to maintain a healthy skepticism and avoid accepting these claims of absolute truths. The second rule serves as a reminder that these sources are not gods, despite their attempts to portray themselves as such. It highlights that these sources are not entities, encouraging us to question their authority. Frequently, their deceptive figures present themselves as all-knowing and omnipotent, claiming to possess the secrets of the universe. However, it is crucial to remember that they often embody the less admirable traits of humanity, including bias, error, and hidden agendas. For instance, during the 1904-1905 religious revival, lay preacher Evan Roberts from Wales remarked on the entity he connected with, stating that refusing to do even the most minor thing for the Holy Spirit was sufficient to be cut off. Obedience must be given in the smallest thing. A common trait with this phenomenon: they may appear to possess divine knowledge and abilities, but they should not receive unwavering reverence or obedience, as they have their own limitations and motives. The third rule reinforces that they are not our ancestors either. This final safeguard stresses the importance of recognizing that even these remarkable manifestations, regardless of their abilities or insights, should not be seen as our forebears or ancestral figures. Their origins and intentions differ fundamentally from our own, and we must retain our sense of identity and connection to our true lineage. By adhering to these principles, we can maintain clarity in our understanding of existence and stay clear of the temptations of deception and distraction. There are certain aspects of manifestation that warrant reflection at this moment to help clarify our understanding. Just as the seance rooms of the past and the expansive fields and skies of our homelands attested, anything can be brought into tangible form, as Nick and Chris beautifully demonstrated at the Skoll experiments. However, we are not the ones truly manifesting it. In these times of manifestation, it is crucial to tap into our instincts, our inner voice, our gift of discernment. These elements serve as our guiding compass, enabling us to navigate the manifestation process with clarity and insight. By heeding our instincts, we open ourselves to profound wisdom that resides within us. A balanced inner voice gently guides us towards what resonates with our genuine desires and purpose. This connection provides us with deeper insight into our symbiotic relationship with what we refer to as the soul. Now, despite significant investments amounting to millions of dollars in security technology, studies have shown that security personnel often outperform these advanced systems. This is due to an inherent human capacity that surpasses any other sophisticated technology. Even with an array of security measures like surveillance cameras, motion technology, and biometric scanners, we cannot overlook the strength of our intuition. This primal force has been a guiding light for humanity long before our historical records began, playing a vital role in our survival and protection. By merging human intuition with technological advancements, we can create a more robust and effective security strategy. The combination of cutting-edge surveillance systems and our intuitive ability to sense potential dangers can yield a formidable defense against threats. But nonetheless, modern diets can hinder our capacity to connect with and receive these signals, often dulling our intuitive facilities and faculties. Imagine if we inhabited a world where we could discern the motivations behind the actions and words of those in power. In extreme situations, such as an encounter with a UFO, or even the mere perception of one, this intuitive capability is far from being a mere abstraction. When faced with a potentially dangerous situation, our bodies react on a physiological level. As we encounter a deemed threatening scenario, our sympathetic nervous system triggers the release of stress hormones, such as adrenaline, cortisol, enacting a series of physiological changes that prepare us to fight or flee. This is the physical manifestation of the soul, the seat of the entire body's psychic abilities. Now, throughout our history, enigmatic phenomena has evolved into its deceptive manifestation, fooling humanity across different eras. These deceptive appearances from the past continue to persist in the present and will undoubtedly continue into the future, and are connected by significant links. These deceptive manifestations include aliens, ghosts, fairies, jinn, incubus, and even ancient gods who constantly shift their form to perplex and mystify us and have definitely influenced the human collective consciousness. Many of the appearances can manifest at once in the same place. Take, for instance, the manifestation of grey aliens captured on camera within the seance rooms. The appearance of extraterrestrial life, for instance, has a profound effect on our perception, evoking a sense of otherworldliness and mystery. The alleged arrival from distant galaxies in uncharted territories prompts us to look beyond our terrestrial boundaries rather than being confined to a solely Earth-centric perspective. Similarly, the enigmatic presence of ghosts and spirits of our ancestors lingering between realms of existence captivates our imagination, sparking our fascination and curiosity. Through their spectral forms and seance-inspired messages, they beckon us to explore the realms beyond our comprehension, realms that have long been shrouded in mystery. And interestingly, our predecessors did not always view the appearance of spirits and ghosts with the same level of intrigue. They often believed that the dead found solace in their own world and should not disturb the realm of the living. This sentiment was a reflection of their understanding of the natural order of things. Within the realm of folklore and mythology, mythological entities such as fairies and nature spirits occupy a special place, often associated with the natural world. Their presence embodies a richness of magic and wonder that permeates our environment. We also confront the elusive jinn, supernatural beings imbued with extraordinary powers that have coexisted with humans in the shadows of our existence. Jinn are capable of manipulating reality, weaving intricate illusions, and deceive even the most discerning of individuals. The conception of the incubus and succubus, of course, is characterized by its ability to whisper sweet promises to its victims, while ensnaring them in the web of manipulation and forbidden temptation. The name incubus originates from the Latin word incubare, which means to lie upon, while succubus refers to the meaning to lie under. These terms underscore the sinister nature of these entities that masquerade as benevolent beings. The roots of these concepts can be traced back to ancient Mesopotamia, where records describe demons, if you like, that would sexually assault individuals while they sleep. In Jewish folklore, Lilith emerges as a female demon who visits men at night, ensnaring them in seductive dreams. Now, over time, these ancient ideas blended and evolved into the figures of the incubus and succubus within medieval European folklore. Today, what we recognize as sleep paralysis often carries a darker undertone. While many experiences can be profoundly terrifying and distressing for the experiencer, modern psychiatry generally views them as harmless. Curiously, some estimates indicate that approximately 20 million people die in their sleep each year. Though figures vary and obtaining accurate numbers is difficult. In a world where tracking our online movements is commonplace, it's surprising that we don't apply the same rigor to understanding causes of fear-induced deaths during sleep. The core elements of the incubus mask, among others, other representations, serve as a powerful reminder that not everything that appears alluring is safe. It urges us to exercise caution as we navigate the vast uncertainties of the paranormal. The term psychiatry originates from the Latin middle word, psychiatria, with its origins intertwined with philosophy and spiritual beliefs. In its earliest form, psychiatry focused on the repair and healing of the soul, with renowned ancient Greek psychiatrists such as Hippocrates attempting to restore balance and harmony within the soul to alleviate mental distress. However, as scientific knowledge has advanced, a significant shift occurred, abandoning the concept of the soul and instead attributing mental health issues to the mind alone. Today, psychiatry primarily concentrates on the mind as an epicenter of mental health issues. The transition from a spiritual to a scientific understanding has driven this development, largely due to the advancements in scientific knowledge and the gradual separation of mental health from spiritual and philosophical considerations. Unfortunately, this divergence has had a consequence: the over-reliance on chemical interventions to treat psychological problems. The primary objective now seems to be to sedate the mind rather than addressing the underlying causes of the actual mental health issues. Consequently, vast quantities of psychotropic drugs are prescribed, often failing to resolve the root causes of the problem they aim to alleviate. However, there are some moves to regenerate the insights of philosophy and spirituality back into psychiatry. And here we may rediscover the significance of addressing the deeper layers of human experience, focusing on cultivating inner balance and emotional healing. Throughout history, ancient gods and deities have been revered and feared across multiple civilizations, often symbolizing authority, guidance, and power. However, it is intriguing to consider the nature of these entities, especially when they are involved in deceptive manifestations alongside other entities such as aliens, ghosts, and other supernatural beings. Should we consider the notion of a deity that rejects offerings of fruit and vegetables, but instead is drawn to the alluring aroma of burning sacrifice? Despite their diverse appearances, the underlying threat that unites these entities reveals a shared capacity to manipulate our perceptions, toy with our reality, and deceive us. The use of masks and their esoteric practices may be used to fool us, but peeling back the layers shrouding these masks requires cautious exploration, as their power can be both enlightening and overwhelming. The interconnectedness of this phenomena hints at a shared origin, but it also exposes a shared weakness, an aversion to iron. Many encounters with these entities occur when iron levels in the experiencer are low. This phenomena warrants further investigation and understanding. In our daily lives, we often overlook the subtle nuances of communication that influence our responses when we encounter supernatural or paranormal phenomena. A hushed whisper within our bodies guides our interactions, often without us realizing it. However, there are moments when this underlying presence becomes more noticeable, such as when we encounter places or spaces that harbor spiritual disturbances. In these situations, our senses pick up on an intensified version of this subtle communication. We may experience feelings of unease, fear, or even fascination. This phenomena is often described as being haunted, but it may be more accurate to consider it as an intensified form of subtle communication from an element that resides deep inside us. In our daily lives, we often focus on overt communication, neglecting the immense power and influence of subtle cues. That weave themselves into the fabric of our interactions. Recognizing the significance of subtle communication can enable us to respond to our environment and connect with others in a deeper way. It requires acknowledging the quiet guidance that shapes our experiences and perceptions. It seems as though the very environment we inhabit is charged with an effable energy that enhances our intuition and intuitive perceptions. Occasionally, we may find ourselves grappling with confusion and discomfort when faced with an overworldly ambience, where the lines separating the physical and spiritual realms become indistinct. The striking example of this phenomena can be seen in real estate industry, in the real estate, where approximately 75% of sales are influenced by emotions. This emotional response, often referred to as simply a feeling, plays an essential role in the decision-making process. Now consider, for instance, those entering a house devoid of any particular visual cues, yet feeling an immediate sense of attraction or aversion. What are these subtle signals our instincts are picking up on, otherwise known as the gift of discernment or psychic knowing? These instances of heightened awareness encourage us to venture deeper, to explore the dimensions that lie beyond the tangible. What they can be are unsettling. They may also provide us with careful moments of introspection, personal growth, and even spiritual awareness. And as we maneuver through the shifting landscapes of our lives, we must not succumb to the temptation to ignore this natural guidance. Instead, we should remain receptive to both the subtle and obvious insights it offers, honoring the unspoken language that shapes our reactions and welcoming the mysterious, that they may extend beyond our current comprehension. Now, the idea of shadows, referring to souls that exist outside the natural cycle of life and death, is increasingly gaining attention. These trickster beings neither dissolve into the depths of darkness nor vanish into oblivion. Rather, they pursue an alternative form of immortality. They may often seek to forcibly inhabit a new host or accept invitations to enter a body following the original host's demise. This the unconventional practice of soul transfer provides unparalleled advantages to those bold enough to engage in it. You see, they're able to gather countless lifetimes of experience and acquire wisdom that transcends generations, forming family and group lineages that cultivate profound knowledge and understanding. With this profound accumulation of knowledge, they can retain access to untold secrets, granting them power and influence beyond our wildest dreams and imagination. Their experiences and learnings encompass a broad spectrum of possibilities, giving them unique insights and manipulation into financial systems, investment strategies, and of economic power. The natural soul is a powerhouse of the psychic world. All our extrasensory abilities are extensions of the soul, whose job it is to keep us alive as long as possible and to return to the void after death, to shed the knowledge it learned into the darkness which has formed the great library of this planet, otherwise known as the global consciousness or Akashic records. Understanding this, we can extend our being and tap into information held in the library, the term widely known today would be remote viewing. The problem we face is that certain details of our history has not been shed into the void. Instead, it is held on the surface in the hands of shadow. History that would expose their involvement in global affairs. With their unprecedented understanding of history, politics, and human nature, these beings have created and held positions of power and authority, capable of shaping destinies and molding societies according to their whims. Their knowledge brings the gaps between generations, enabling them to manipulate political systems, steer international relations, and dictate the course of global events. In the grand tapestry of existence, the shadow lie as anomalies, forever straddling the boundary between life and death. And just like the symbiotic relationship we share with the soul, they experience life on the surface through our many senses. Unlike the natural soul who returns to the void after death of the host body, they accumulate lifetimes. Their power grows exponentially. Interestingly, we already coined a phrase that summed up this observation. The enveloping of oneself as we enter a haunted property, for example, the warnings from our symbiotic sidekick, be aware, there is another here. This age-old feeling when we become the hunted was called oppression. Now, oppression goes beyond a mere state of unease and captures the engulfing energy that permeates the very air in an alleged haunted property or other spaces. It denotes a weighty burden placed upon our senses, a psychological and spiritual crushing that presses down upon our consciousness. It is as if an invisible force with unseen tendrils seeks to subjugate and imprison our thoughts and emotions. During a UFO encounter, for example, our senses sharpen, attuned to subtle shifts in the environment that hint at the presence of an otherworldly entity. Our heartbeat quickens, resounding with a heightened awareness of our own vulnerability. Every nerve in our body becomes electrified with a primal instinct urging us to remain alert and be prepared for the unknown. This is the very moment we need to be reattuned. We need to reattune our senses to identify the intruder. I call it the 20-second rule. Because it is within these initial seconds of the shadow encounter with us, no matter which mask it uses, that our own alert system can activate. Whether it appears as a little girl, as a pet, or whatever case it may appear as, if we activate within the first 20 seconds, that tells you all you need to know. There is a level of deception. You were being warned that there is deception here. Please understand this moment, because our internal alarm system has activated. It has told you all you need to know. If we fail to recognize the signals or get caught up in the conscious connection, which will develop after 20 seconds, it can override those early signals and ultimately set your system on mute. If a manifesting entity has to tell me, do not be afraid, as it appears in my room, and my fight or flight has engaged, then I damn well better listen to my own instinct. The conscious connection is our Achilles heel. It is the macabre nature of humanity that we are fascinated and mesmerized by elements of darkness. I call it roadkill. So if I'm in a situation or observing a situation, I ask myself, is this roadkill? It is the undeniable allure that attracts and draws us towards the phenomena, no matter how it appears, like a bright light to a moth? If the answer is yes, then I alter my approach and interaction with the phenomena. Oppression can also be sensed as the singular or a group attachment, as they attempt to gain entry to the body by breaking down its defenses that can result in great stresses, mental, physical, and spiritual. In the days and weeks following an extreme encounter, false memory can play a role if it went after 20 seconds and cover the primary details that took place. I tend to see the growing assumptions that we have been given a gift from the spirits or aliens or whatever appearance they took. This gift comes in the form of a rise of extrasensory perception. And it's foolish to think that this was a gift. Rather, it's the soul's ability which is increasing to try and prevent that harrowing situation from arising again. He who owns the body wins. This lends me to the next term we used before it dropped out of favor. When the shadow, or shadows for that matter, have gained entry, it was known as possession. Now, all is not lost, though. By understanding the multi-masked appearances of the true phenomena, we can take steps to defend ourselves from it, keeping an internal balance and to our own truth. Now, I feel it prudent at this stage to interject with a caveat. When I mention the term true phenomena, I'm referring to occurrences that originated from the unexplored depths of the void. It's important to note that this type of phenomena is relatively rare and can be separated from the main noise. In today's world of legacy media, we are being presented with examples of technological advancements that rightfully belong to us, but sadly are portrayed as something entirely different. The New Jersey drones are a perfect example. We should not lose sight that not everything that goes bump in the night is a ghost, and not every bright light in the night sky is a UFO. Encounters with the true phenomena is much more rare than we think. However, throughout the world there exists individuals who journey through their life without ever encountering or experiencing the phenomena. And it's interesting, leading on from Nick and Sarah's presentation, that people who are born completely blind, there is no vision whatsoever, no essence of light, nothing, never have an experience with the phenomena. People who are born completely deaf never have an experience with the phenomena. Now, the perplexity deepens further when we realize that not only these individuals are immune, but also those blessed with perfect 20/20 vision. 20/20 vision represents an individual's ability to perceive fine details at a distance of 20 feet compared to the norm. These individuals have this ability that lends credence to the green light experiments I'm conducting in particular areas that can on occasion reveal the shadow. That can be captured on video and photo. Green lights like this. The shadows will appear in the darkness between the green light and the observer. And it's helped by the biology of our eyes that can see movement in the green spectrum better than any other. It is increasingly likely both individuals in the scientific circles and those in the elevated paranormal research are looking at the same phenomena. For instance, psychiatry calls these encounters psychosis, rendering them as hallucinations, which can be triggered by low iron levels. Now, delving back hundreds, if not thousands of years, it was and is commonplace to engage in the act of fasting. By doing this, the body depletes its reserves of particular vitamins and minerals, in particular iron, in an effort to communicate with the saints or the gods. By studying those whose disability rendered them unaffected by this phenomena, we can shed light on the very nature of existence. Many with a visual or auditory disability from birth can have reduced iron levels and yet still have no encounters. Is it possible that the absence of certain senses provides a barrier in connecting with this extraordinary force? Like I said, he who owns the body wins. Think of this analogy my wife came up with. If the body was a car, are we going to use one that has malfunctioned? Is it possible that the shadow are only interested in experiencing life on the surface by utilizing all our senses? This newfound emphasis on balanced scientific analysis brings us one step closer to unraveling the mysteries of this extraordinary relationship and deceptive nature of shadow. By both studying those who are susceptible and those who are immune, we can better comprehend the intricacies of its workings. This knowledge has the potential to reshape our understandings of the human experience and the profound impact this phenomena has on our lives. Through texts left behind by our ancestors, I have observed the original worship sites of shadow utilized hard-to-reach temples, such as those found in mountain peaks. Its connection with stone is an underlying feature that shapes a high percentage of the encounters. It appears that rock strata plays a crucial role, and when combined with magnetic anomalies, I soon discovered stories of purported encounters with a phenomena that involves misleading facades. This creates a sense of obligation among its followers, who ultimately find themselves facing confusion and disillusionment. The world is littered with magnetic anomalies, both positive and negative. And it's here in the strongest parts we find the seat of bizarre encounters. Throughout history, we have had tales of good versus evil, yin and yang, black and white. This was never our fight. Although the natural order of the soul has been overturned, both soul and shadow originate from this same source. They are of the same thing. The phenomena we find emanating from the positive anomalies are, at the core level, just the same as the negative anomalies, but with a few added additions. Approximately 70% of the world's top suicide locations appear in negative anomalies. Ancient sites of sacrifice also seem to favor these locations. And up to 75% of the world's weapons research and manufacturing are also found in these areas, suggesting a possible cooperative link with the phenomena and human interaction in negative magnetic areas. It's no secret that esoteric techniques have been explored and incorporated by the military-industrial complex in areas associated with greater magnetic anomalies. The Shining Ones, who have now turned into my arch rivals, exhibit a peculiar inclination for revealing themselves atop, within, or overlooking diverse rock formations. Their captivating presence has seamlessly merged into the tapestry of a religious symbolism, while the enigma surrounding these encounters remains concealed within the very first moments of their manifestation, a phenomenon already acknowledged as the 20-second rule. The Shining Ones, with their ethereal radiance and enigmatic allure, initially chose the realm of rocky landscapes as their preferred stage for revelation. Perched majestically on towering cliffs, permafrost-covered boulders, or perchance even suspended in midair above geological marvels, they unleash a profound impact on the witnesses unfortunate enough to behold their otherworldly splendor. Curiously, their awe-inspiring presence has become an indelible part of our spiritual heritage and iconography. Their likeness, resembling celestial incarnations, have been immortalized in sacred art, architecture, and lore, intricately woven into the fabric of our beliefs. This enigmatic nature and profound influence has indelibly inspired religious devotion, often involving a sense of both reverence and trepidation. Now we find them even appearing in UFO encounters, such as the tall whites, deceptively telling us they're from Rigel, located in the Orion system, or the Nordics from the Pleiades. They're often described as benevolent and peaceful beings who aim to assist humanity. That is, until you start asking questions and their true nature presents itself. It is during this narrow window of the initial 20 seconds that clues, symbols, and ethereal whispers may unfold. The perceptive observer must possess acute intuition, attuned senses, and an unwavering focus to decipher these cryptic messages embedded within the luminous presence of the Shining Ones. If the force behind the manifestation senses doubt, the encounter will end immediately. The trick during these and other examples of their manifestation wardrobe is to learn to shield your thoughts and impressions and slowly reel in your fish. Otherwise, with the body immobilized, the predominant assault is on the symbiotic relationship, the decoupling of the soul from the body. During an encounter, normally the body is left behind, and the resulting trauma to the soul can manifest as marks and scratches on or in the body, similar to those seen in stigmata. Now, an example of the deceit and corruption around much of these appearances can be seen in France. Normally seen in the Upper Pyrenees, these manifestations are known as Le Berger du Luminaire. However, in this instance, one appeared from a cave and was captured in the gaze of a 14-year-old girl called Bernadette Soubirous in 1858. The famous encounter in Lourdes, France, has continued to draw in worshippers from around the world, as later accounts suggested she had witnessed the Virgin Mary. However, even though Bernadette was herself religious, she had no idea who she was looking at. When the church artists began carving the statues of what she saw, she protested, "That is not what I seen." In her diary, in her words, it is noted that she referred to the manifestation as that thing. Her words, that thing. This tells us all we need to know. In the realm of remote viewing, the connection to the rocks and peaks is profound. Renowned remote viewers Pat Price and Joseph Monagle embarked on a remarkable journey that led them to unveil the existence of 4 mountains around the globe, each possessing interior chambers reminiscent of the old legends associated with the gods. Both of them may have overlooked a fascinating connection that exists with Norse mythology, because during the creation of the world, Odin placed a dwarf at each corner to support and uphold it, with the belief that the dwarfs resided within the stone itself. And these dwarfs were not only responsible for sustaining the earth from beneath, they also held associations with specific states of consciousness. Numerous legends scattered across various cultures have long referenced the abodes of gods nestled high in the peaks. One notable example is, of course, Mount Olympus, which occupies a prominent place in Greek mythology. Similarly, Mesopotamia's Iagal is another location revered such to harbour the divine. Now, even in the Bible itself, the King James Version, it's recorded in the Gospel of Matthew that when Jesus was brought to the mountain by Satan, the devil taketh him into an exceeding high mountain and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world. The key word here, he was taken into, rather than the more modern version, which has now been changed, and its key feature states on, not into. The remote viewers Price and Monagle claim to have witnessed peculiar hollowed-out sections with the interior of these mountains. Their astonishing revelations pointed towards Mount Hayes in Alaska, along with other enigmatic peaks in Zimbabwe, Spain, and Australia. Now, interestingly, their initial encounters were accompanied by an overwhelming sense of fear and an eerie presence commonly described as evil. Nonetheless, as they ventured further in their exploration, they discovered that the feeling gradually dissipated, ultimately culminating in a sense of peace when they reached their final destination in Mount Zeil, Australia. A crucial aspect to note is the magnetic anomalies associated with these mountain areas. The first of these three locations, including the United States, Zimbabwe, and of course Spain, are situated within negative magnetic anomalies. Their observations aligns with other known phenomena and could potentially explain the intense unease experienced by the remote viewers during their initial observations in the regions. On the other hand, Mount Zeil in Australia resides in a positive magnetic anomaly. Additionally, Price and Monagle's accounts depict the unexpected presence of human soldiers and scientists within these subterranean spaces. This revelation lends an intriguing dimension to the enigma surrounding these mountains, raising questions regarding the purpose and activities carried out within these hidden realms. Now, it's a dangerous time to be a noted remote viewer. And it was claimed 4 months after Pat Price viewed the mountain peaks, he was assassinated. No autopsy was ever carried out, and he was cremated before the authorities informed his wife. His ashes are buried in an unmarked grave in North Hollywood, California. Now, when faced with an enigmatic manifestation capable of assuming any form and eagerly reassuring us to be fearful, assuring us that it exists solely for our well-being, it becomes only fair and rational to seek clarification through a series of inquiries. Upon entering or encountering a being with such extraordinary abilities, it becomes imperative, absolutely imperative, to understand the purpose of his existence and the motivation behind his insistence on benefiting us. It is a benevolent entity, if it's a benevolent entity, genuinely seeking to aid and guide us, or is there a hidden agenda concealed behind its reassuring facade? Seeking clarity on its true intentions should be the initial step. However, history teaches us when we press it for details, when we press them for details, they either try and sell us a false narrative or back off and retreat into the darkness, making it almost impossible to re-establish contact. This world is a deceptive playing field, and it gets worse by the year. Before the mid-1850s, it was humanity versus the shadow, whose main goal was to stay on the surface through whatever means was necessary. Since the mid-1850s, we have another player on the field. Little is known of this new player, yet details are fleeting. It has no wish to be found. It's like nothing we've ever seen before, and it leaves a trace in the people and land where shadow clearly communes in the heart of the strong negative anomalies, working with them. I simply mark it on the timeline and write other. Now, folks, this leads perfectly into the lecture that is delivered tonight off the record. Because the three directors of Awakening Events took it upon ourselves to go on an expedition to Monte Perdido in Spain. And what we found caught us completely off guard. And thank you.